Hi everyone and welcome to our tutorial on CameraSim. In this first tutorial we're going to take a look at how CameraSim works and how it can help you learn how to use your settings on your DSLR camera. So first thing, take a look inside the viewfinder here. You can see small squares. Now those are focus points. These can be set to tell the camera where it should focus. Maybe we don't always want it to be right in the center. Maybe we actually want it to focus over here on the right, or maybe to the left, or even down at this point here. You can actually select them all as well and do an average, but those small squares are called focus points. Next thing, if we go down to look at these numbers in green here, these are very important and they tell us certain things about the settings. I'm going to go down to these radio buttons here and click on shutter priority. Now if I go down to the slider bar here, I can move this back and forth, and what I'm doing is I'm changing the shutter speed of the camera. If I go over here on the left, I've got a shutter speed of 0.5 seconds. I can slide it over here in this direction, and now I've got a shutter speed of 1/400 of a second. If I go up here, that's what this number here tells me. So this isn't 400 seconds. This represents 1/400 of a second. So this would be a very fast shutter speed. So if I'm taking a picture of a sprinter and I don't want to have it blurry, I'm going to choose a really fast shutter speed, like 1/640th of a second. Now if I go to here, click on this radio button, this is to set the aperture priority, and that is our A setting on our dial. Now if I go over here and I change the aperture and slide this back and forth, you can see that our smallest F number is 3.2, and that tells us that we've got a very short depth of field. The smaller the f-stop number, the shorter the depth of field, and that number is represented right here as 3.2. You can see that here. If I slide it over to the right, and we can go up to f20, so an f-stop number of 20, which is represented by this right here. The bigger the F number, the longer a depth of field. Next, we're going to take a look at this right here. This is our light meter, and when you look inside a DSLR camera, you should look at the light meter because that tells us whether or not we have enough light to take our photo. So if our flash is off, we want to look at this here and make sure that this is right in the middle and it's not over here or it's not over here. If it is, it's going to be underexposed or overexposed. Finally, we're going to take a look at our ISO setting. The ISO setting tells the camera how sensitive it should be to light. If I slide it all the way to the left here, I've got an ISO setting of 100. So we're telling the camera to not be overly sensitive to light. So this would be good on a really sunny day outside. We'd set this to ISO 100. If I slide this over here to the right, we can go up to 6400 or 3200 or 1600. Over here we're telling the camera to be very sensitive to light. So if I'm out in the middle of the night taking pictures of the stars, got my camera on a tripod, I want it to be very sensitive to light, so I'm going to move it over here to say 3200 or 1600. So that's a quick introduction to CameraSim. In the next tutorial, we're going to take a look at changing some of these settings and trying to get the best possible photo from our settings. See you in the next tutorial.